Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show.
Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with our book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of our upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Jerry Skillett on the line. He's executive chairman and co-founder over at Spaces. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adam. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, Jerry. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and I'm excited to learn more about Spaces. And just to get us kicked off, so we at Mission Matters amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. Jerry, what mission matters to you?
Well, the mission, what matters to us is making it easier and safer for millions of customers in the world every day for parking.
Fantastic. And so so speaking of parking, I do want to get into Spaces, and I do want to talk more about that, but maybe just let's start a little bit further back. So how did you get on this journey really to get into the parking industry?
Well, it was really by accident. Like a lot of people just looking for a job, I answered an ad, almost 40 years ago in Kansas City. Went to work for a parking company as a valet parking manager at the Hyatt Regency and just fell in love with the business.
Wow, what an amazing story. And the reason I love this story so much is because, well, number one, we'll get into what you've done with Spaces, so it's pretty incredible. But, I feel like there's a lot of people that feel like they have to be in one industry versus another. They're like, I had to be in the tech boom, I had to be here, I had to be there. And so, parking, that's pretty traditional. So to be an innovator in that space and to do other things like that, it just proves that that you can add value in any space, and there's room for improvement. I'm not gonna even guess what do we call it? When do we say the parking industry started? Was it with horses? Was it? When do we say the parking industry started? I don't know.
Well, so you actually have asked a great question because they started parking in New York City. They started parking carriages, horse carriages, in buildings, and that was really the first part of the parking industry. Was actually parking horse carriages. And that's kind of how it all started. And of course, that changed to cars later, but that's how it started in New York City and Chicago.
Man, so I wasn't far off. I knew it had to do with horses. I just didn't know what. So I got it. Okay, so I was missing the carriage. So what do you think? What do you think has kind of made Spaces so unique? Take us through that journey and what that looked like. So first off, of course, you said you fell in love with the parking industry very early on, and then where'd it go from there?
Well, I've owned several companies. I built the second largest parking company in the United States. I've had literally thousands of parking facilities under my management. And the journey over time has been interesting as technology started entering the parking industry, where it went from cashiers handling cash to where automated systems were, basically handling, credit card payments. Mm-hmm. What was interesting is that we actually made it more difficult for customers. We did a much better job with cashiers and people and the systems became very complex, very difficult for customers. And our goal at Spaces was just to make it simpler.
No, that's awesome. And so when we think about when you think about like kind of that user journey of what the customer looks like, and of course there's going to be many, many, many different types of parking structures and setups and things like that, of course. So I know it's not a one-size-fits-all answer. But what are some of the things that go into planning that user experience of what it looks like to, to get a car from, where it's supposed to be and then get it back in the customer's hands?
Yeah, well, most parking in the United States is self-parking, not valet. So you park your own vehicle. 90% of the time, it's in a gated parking facility. And what we noticed, really the trend has been that, and shockingly, every single person who owns a car utilizes a mobile device. It's 100%. And so what we began to notice is that people were navigating into the parking facilities utilizing, Waze or Google Maps or Apple Maps with their mobile device. And so we decided that we would concentrate on how do we now utilize that mobile device to actually access that parking gate from inside the vehicle, which is it just massively changes the customer experience. And then the second part of that is then how can that be a mobile payment platform after you do that, which is what we solved. And it just simplified and made parking so much more efficient and easier.
So speaking of the mobile platform, so let's go further into the company Spaces itself and really what you're doing there, because there's other, what makes the app unique? I know there's other apps that exist, but what you're doing is unique.
Well, what's really unique is what we discovered is that we actually, it's not an app. It actually works from your mobile device without an app. And that is what is the game changer, because in the transportation business, if you just think about this, the challenge is that a parking facility is an active transportation, a place. So you actually are driving. So to force somebody to download an app in that scenario is really very difficult to do, because a lot of people are first-time users in parking facilities. So our system is leveraging the actual mobile telephone number. So you dial a telephone number, which all of us know how to do, Adam. We've all been doing it since we've been 7 years old, and we're really quite efficient at it. You dial a number to enter the parking facility. You receive a text to set up your payment platform. You only have to do that once. And then you dial a telephone number to exit. That's how simple it is. So no app required. And that ended up being the key to success, was the fact that anybody could do it. Even with a smartphone, you could utilize this.
Oh man, that was on my list of number one things, and you can't say this, but I can, and it's annoying when you have to download another app that you don't want to download to do something. I was in Pasadena. They have that for some of the Pasadena, California. They have that for some of the parking that the meters don't even take like a regular anything anymore. They force you to download the app if you want to park on their street, and I'm like, this is annoying. I don't want to park. I don't want to download your app, but I wanted to go eat. So I had to download the app, and I didn't like it. Let's just put it that way. I guess that's the city, so we don't have a choice, but whatever. Yeah. But it's annoying. If you don't want to download an app, you don't want to. You just want it to be done.
Yeah, Adam, you're right. I mean, we tested, utilizing an app. We tested Bluetooth technology. We tested all of this thousands and thousands of times, and we really challenged ourselves to make it simpler, easier, and more efficient, which we found, just like you said, if you have to be searching for an app to access the facility, that takes too much time. And if you have to download something, I don't know about you, but I have probably 50 apps that I use, but they're, I'm to the point now that I just refuse to download anything else. And that's what we found with customers. It really needed to be in a non-app environment for it to be successful.
No, totally agree. So tell me, what's next for Spaces? Like, what's next for the company? What do you see going into? We're recording this in 2021 for the audience, and it is just after Memorial Day. So yeah. So what do you see? What's next for Spaces?
Well, thank you. I mean, we're already in 25 cities in the United States. We open 3 or 4 facilities a week, and we believe that we'll be in 90% of the gated parking facilities over the next 3 years. So it's explosive, and I think that the contactless part of this, which got into everybody's consciousness last year with COVID, really accelerated the way that people think about contactless payment, contactless access, and all of that. And so, we benefited from the psychology behind all of that, and people have really gotten used to utilizing contactless payment. And so we leveraged that, and that just has created explosive growth for us.
Oh man, that's exciting. Well, Jerry, I just have to say this has been definitely great having you on the show today. It's all about what we love to do at Mission Matters is really share these stories with people to inspire them and inspire ideas and things. And I tell you, from the horse and carriage of parking all the way to the appless app. There's no app, so now you're definitely pioneering an industry and taking it further. And now, of course, all jokes aside, with like COVID, all things that took place for when this is being recorded, you're really helping people, and there's a safety issue, and you're addressing that too. I mean, you're doing some amazing things there, so it's a pleasure to bring your story and Spaces to my audience. If somebody wants to learn more about Spaces and connect with the company and follow the journey, what's the best way for them to do that?
Adam, thank you. The best place to do that is spacesusa.com. That's our primary website, and you can see our stories and follow us there. And we would appreciate your comments always.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again, Jerry, for coming on the show. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, hit that subscribe button. We definitely want you to be a return listener and visitor. And Jerry, thanks again for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.